Hey everybody, Michelle Barnum Smith here. How you doing? Hey, I have a special guest today, and I'm super excited to have Bradley Sutton, who is the director of training for Helium10. And if you are unfamiliar with Helium10, gosh, where have you been living? But um, they are they produce amazing tools for sellers to be able to not just be able to research keywords, but also research freaking products and figure out like, should we even be selling this? Like coming up with new cool tools all the time. I think you guys released like Black Box. Was it last week?
No, the new version of Black Box. Yeah,
Okay,
Black
cool.
Box for keywords. We just launched, and that thing is Tim Jordan, but
Yeah.
he was like, Bradley, you can't, you gotta revoke access to this. You can't show. You're stealing all. I see like three of my products on this little demo that you just did. Everybody's gonna be able to find my stuff. He's like, no, don't show it.
Oh, that's awesome. I've been playing around with it a little bit, and I trained at your Helium 10 event back in May, and I kind of let the ball, kind of let it slip that my husband and I are actually thinking about getting started with selling on Amazon. So we've been playing around with it a little bit and found like a total diamond yesterday. We're like, oh my gosh, I think we could do this. And my husband already had ideas on how to improve that product so it could, kill the one that's currently a bestseller. Anyway, so super excited about your guys' tools. Bottom line. All right. So today what we're going to talk about is tools that Helium 10 offers to help you figure out your keyword research before you run your ranking campaigns. And Bradley and I were just talking about this. When you run your ranking campaigns, ManyChat and chatbots, they're just a tool to leverage to be able to help you accomplish your goal. But if you put garbage into that tool, what are you going to get out of it? Garbage, right? And I've seen it time and time again where people have an idea of a keyword they want to rank for, or they just see their competitors ranking for a keyword. And so they think that they should be ranking for that too. And, there's a lot of factors that go into whether you should be trying to rank for a keyword or not. And a lot of that has to go into, your listing is optimized and you have the right keywords in your listing to be able to maintain that ranking over time. Also, if you have the inventory tolerance to rank for a keyword, maybe that keyword is so competitive that you're just going to blow away your entire inventory trying to rank for it. Not a good strategy. So I've been playing around with my mentorship clients in using Helium 10's tools. I'm not an expert in using them, but even just playing around with them at a high level, we've been able to find some really great diamonds of keywords that my clients would never have considered that could be really amazing campaigns to rank for, either just one campaign or even like using like a rotator URL to rank for multiple keywords at once. So like total 1-2 punch, amazing technology. So I'm excited to have Bradley on here. We're going to be talking about the tools to help you research your keywords before you rank, and then the tools that you can use while you're running your ranking campaigns to keep track of your campaign's performance and make sure that your campaign is actually working. So Bradley, let's dive right in and talk about the tools that you have and that you recommend that our sellers use.
Yeah. So first of all, it's really important that people, approach this with the right mindset, because that's one of the big mistakes that sellers make. They pick the wrong keywords or they just focus on the wrong metrics. Like, hey, I just want a keyword that's somewhat related to my product, but has the most searches. And that's by no means the methodology that one should use in choosing what keywords that they're going to focus on for, if they're doing a ManyChat campaign, if they're doing a giveaway, if they're doing a Facebook ad, if they're spending $1,000 a week on PPC, like, whatever your methodology is in trying to boost your keyword ranking, you've got to make sure that you're spending money in the right place. And so what I always say is try to find the most buyer relevant keywords. A classic example I use is kitchen. Now, Amazon is kind of like a search engine. People go, I go on Amazon to just like look up reviews or just get ideas, almost like some people use it as like a Pinterest, So you think of the word kitchen. Kitchen probably has tens of thousands of searches on Amazon, and in Helium 10, you can see the estimated search volume. It's highly accurate. So let's just say, I don't know what it is. I'm just going to check really quick.
Garlic
So
press.
I'm going to check so I can tell you guys the exact thing here. But kitchen, for example, now give me something like that's a more unique, something that would be in a kitchen, like silicone spatula or something like that. What's something, Michelle?
I think the key word is garlic press. Isn't that like
Garlic press.
what
Yeah. So
everybody sells?
there's like
Because they don't want to talk about
garlic
their own
press. There's a
products.
million things that are in a kitchen, but in my mind, kitchen is not going to have much buyer intent. And that basically means, let me share my screen here, and I'm going to show you guys a search for kitchen here. All right, here we go. So if we type in kitchen, all right, we've got tons of things that are come up. There's actually over 200,000 listings that have the word kitchen in it. And if we were to run X-ray, actually right here, this is actually the fastest way. Look at that. Kitchen has 155,000 estimated monthly searches. So like thousands, literally thousands of people a day are searching for kitchen. All right. But let's take a look at some of these results here. I see a vegetable chopper. I see knife set. I see a bamboo cutting board, a couple different kinds of knife sets. I see a blender. I see food storage. I see plastic or whatever this is, cutting boards. I see some spoon sets. I see a drying rack, an organizer tray. So what does this mean? This means that, yeah, I'm sure people are buying some things, but it's not like everybody is going and searching for kitchen and buying one thing. So let me just pick something from here that's pretty unique. Let me see. Here we go. Stainless steel watermelon slicer. All right, that is here on page 1. Okay, that's here right here on page 1. Now, if I had a stainless steel watermelon slicer, all right, would this be a keyword that I want to rank for? And there's some people out there who say, yeah, hey, 155,000 searches, get on page 1. I would say 1,000,000% no, I would not want to rank for this keyword. Why? Because people who search for kitchen are not buying watermelon slicers. Maybe some are, otherwise this wouldn't have gotten on the first page. But when you see a search results that is so varied, that means that there's no one set thing that people are really gravitating towards. So this has 155,000 searches. Now, I'm just going to take this keyword right here, stainless steel watermelon slicer. Let's take a look here. Stainless steel watermelon. Oh, it's definitely a keyword. Watermelon slicer. Now, let's take a look at what the metrics are for this keyword. This one is search for 40 times a month. All right, so that's actually not anything at all. So let's just go to watermelon slicer then. Ooh, okay. This one's probably going to be more. Let's check out what the search volume is here. 17,000. Okay, so here we go. So we have on one hand a keyword that has 150,000 searches, and there is a watermelon slicer on page 1. But here's a keyword that has, I already forgot because I have Alzheimer's.
I think it was like 17,000.
17,000, all right? 17,000. Now, which keyword is the better one to choose for a ManyChat campaign or a giveaway or something? 1,000,000% is this one, even though it has 1/10 the number of searches. Why? Because it's obvious that if that was my product or my kind of product, somebody searching for watermelon slicer has a tendency to buy something that looks exactly what I'm trying to sell. That means that this keyword has buyer intent for my product. It's very buyer relevant for my product. So I guarantee you that there are going to be more sales for coming to your product from this keyword from being on page 1 than from kitchen. Kitchen, first of all, probably doesn't have many sales at all. I never, whenever I buy something on Amazon, if I know what I'm going to buy or if I'm really shopping for something, I'm going to type in something specific like garlic press, watermelon slicer. All right. I'm not going to type in kitchen. And that word doesn't have what I call buyer intent. That has like kind of buyer curiosity.
Right. And
I search kitchen, right? Well, like if you were to search kitchen, what are you probably looking for, Michelle?
I don't think I've ever typed that keyword in ever. And the reason, and this goes back to, like, I've been doing marketing for 20 years, and one of the core things that people need to understand about marketing is that it's marketing is all about pain and solutions. And I don't know about you, Bradley, but every time I cut a watermelon, I experience pain in the form of just a huge mess and all of these things. And when I'm in the midst of that mess, what am I feeling? I'm feeling frustration. I'm feeling sticky. I'm feeling, and as far as my husband is concerned, there is no worse feeling in this world than being sticky. And so, and And so that is pain. That is pain in some form. And that's why Amazon is such a powerful platform, and Google for that matter, is that you're going and you're searching for a solution to a pain. And so you would never type in kitchen unless you're just bored in, a park someday and you're like, I wonder what's
I
on,
mean, there's obviously a lot of people doing it.
Yeah, there's obviously
150,000 people, but I guarantee they're not looking to buy something.
Yeah, but what the crap are they looking for?
Yeah,
That's really what it comes
I would
down
say
to.
they're using it like Pinterest or something. Like
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
they're about to remodel their kitchen and they just enter in kitchen. Like it makes no sense to me that many people would search for kitchen, but it happens.
Or maybe it's like they're like, oh, I need to get something for my mother-in-law.
Yeah.
She has a kitchen. What does she
And that's exactly why you see such varied results on the first page of kitchen, is because they're just buying any random thing, if they're buying anything at all. So
right, totally.
The key is you want to focus on the keywords that has a chance to bring you the most sales. And just because a keyword has a lot of search volume does not mean it is going to bring you sales, because it could be a keyword that doesn't have a lot of buyer intent, or a keyword that has a lot of buyer intent, but the results are nothing like yours. And that means that people are not looking. People who are searching for a product like yours are obviously not using that keyword in order to find it. Otherwise, you would see the results. Because again, remember, Amazon only makes money is if somebody searches for something and they buy it, or whether it's PPC or whatever. So it's in Amazon's best interest to show customers, buyers, the products that gives Amazon the best chance at closing that sale. So, they study all of the history, like what listings get great interaction on this keyword, or what listings get great interaction on related keywords, et cetera. And so their advanced algorithm is going to show that, hey, for obviously this one, watermelon slicer, people are buying products that look like this. So this is the ones that we're going to show. So that's the something that is, again, this has nothing to do with Helium10. This is just in general, regardless of the tool, or if you're not using a tool, always keep that in mind, and don't go off of some metrics. Like even other tool companies might try and tell you, oh, you need to make sure that it's this kind of score, or it has this, color, or whatever their metric is. Forget about that. All right. At the end of the day, it's not Amazon who's buying your product. It's the buyer. All right. So you've got to make sure that you are buyer relevant. Now, with Helium10, there's a way to make it easy to find buyer relevant keywords. So we're here on this watermelon slicer page. Let's say you are going to have a watermelon slicer and you want to know what are the top 5 keywords. If I was going to use a URL rotator campaign, or if I was going to do 5 different campaigns where I'm targeting 5 keywords,
or just or just the main keyword that you want to write,
or just the main keyword. Yeah. I always narrow it down to top 15, and then I narrow it down further from there and pick my top one. So what I'm going to do right here is, the first thing I want to do is let's just assume that you don't have a product yet. Let's just assume that you don't have a product yet, and you're just looking on here and you're like, hey, I want to see something. You know what? My product is going to look like this. All right. It's going to be like $7, $8, which again, guys, this obviously is not a good product to sell if the price point is at, $7 or $8. But you say, hey, this looks like actually not this one. This one has like little forks and knives. Some of these have forks and knives here. I just want to pick an easy one. That's not.
Can I ask you a question real quick? So usually, like, my sellers, let's say that they've already picked their product and they're trying to figure out that keyword, and they come to this page. There's, we have a bunch of different kind of leaders, if you will, on this page. I saw a bunch of, bestseller tags that were actually legitimate, not just, part of a graphic. If you scroll up a little bit, I think I saw like 2 of them. And then you have the people who are actually in position 1, are in the top 5 of the ranking. And then I'm sure on here somewhere we have the Amazon Choice Badge as well. Do you guys have any visibility into, or like in this scenario, if you're wanting to do like the Cerebro reverse ASIN lookup, would you do it based on the bestseller or the highest ranked, or like who would you choose to get started with?
Well, I'm going to show you guys that right now. That's exactly what I'm going to do. But the very first thing you need to do, if you don't have your own product yet, which if we're talking about launching a product, you don't, all right, is find a lower BSR one, lower ranked one, but that really looks like your product, just so you can have a guideline as what your baseline product is. You have to have a baseline product when you're using Cerebro. So for this, I'm going to use this. Let's just say my product is going to have, it's just going to be this thing with a pinwheel. All right. No, not a lot of fancy flu-flu. It's not going to be a 2-piece. It's just going to be about this. My price is going to be about $8. All right. So I'm like, hey, this is, but the reason I'm picking this is because it's a very low BSR. But again,
How do
let's
they
just
see
say
that? That's using the
that's
Helium
using the Helium10 Chrome
10
extension. So
Chrome
once you
extension.
guys install the Chrome extension up here, you get all this visibility right here on the BSR, the ASIN. So like I'm going to copy the ASIN right now. Normally what you would have to do is you'd probably have to click on this listing and go up here in the URL and do all that. But I'm actually clicking it right here thanks to the Helium10 Chrome extension. And I'm going to paste that right here into Cerebro as my first baseline keyword. All right. So there's that. Now, the next step, going along with what Michelle was saying, I'm going to run X-ray on this page. And what I want to do right now is I want to find 4, 5, or 6 of the top selling competitors that look, feel most like my product. All right. And now the reason why I want to do, the ones that look, feel most like my product is for that same reason that we couldn't just pick anything random like on the keyword of
Kitchen.
what was that, kitchen, that we use, right?
Yeah.
Because I could be comparing myself, watermelon slicer, I could be comparing myself to that drying rack or that organization thing. And really, I don't really, even though they're sharing that first page with me, I don't really care what keywords are driving their sales, because guess what? A keyword that is driving the sales for a dish dryer is going to be completely different than my product as a watermelon slicer. Whoops, went to the wrong page here. And so I want to see in particular what is going on with the top selling watermelon slicer. So I'm going to sort this by sales. All right. Now I'm going to mouse over here until I can find the top selling ones. And look at this. Here's one, $8, almost looks exactly like the product I picked as my baseline, because again, maybe at this point I already have a quote. Maybe I've already ordered it, so I know what my product's going to look like. And this definitely looks like it, similar price. They're selling 10,000 units a month of this product, estimated. I definitely want to know how the heck they're driving their sales. So I'm going to copy that keyword, and I'm going to put it here, okay, as my first one. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to look here. All right, so this is selling 8,000 units, and it's on this page, but it's a vegetable chopper. I don't care. Even though this is the number 2 seller on this page, even if it was the best seller on this page, I'm going to completely skip it because it has nothing to do with my product. Again, not everybody on the page of your keywords is your competitor. Even if they have the bestseller badge, even if they're above you, if they're not like your product, they're not competing with you. Because
Hey,
when
Bradley,
somebody,
in that column next to ACE, in that first column, the number column,
yes,
is that like the position on the page?
that
Or
was the original position on the page. The reason why it's all over the place is because then I went and sorted it by sales.
So the number 1 position doesn't necessarily determine like monthly sales volume.
No, not on Amazon's algorithm. Nope, has nothing to do with that.
Yeah, because it's daily. So
Yep.
like the number 1 guy, is
It has actually doesn't have much to do with overall sales at all. I could have the number 1 person here maybe have 100 sales a month. Very possible, because it all has to do with that product and how it performs for that keyword.
cool.
It's like maybe a product only has 100 sales a month, but they're all from this keyword and has like 100% conversion, and like a bunch of other people are adding it to the cart and adding it to wish list or all these other metrics. Well, that's going to have the page 1 position 1 over something that's selling 10,000 units a month overall. But maybe for this keyword, who knows? Maybe they're only selling like 50 units a month for this keyword.
And that's really an important step, guys, when you're doing your keyword research, is don't just trust whoever's in position 1, because they might just be a brand new seller or a brand new product that's getting ranked, that's running a ranking campaign, whether that's PPC or ManyChat or however they're doing it. And so they might not, that's why it's great to have, this Chrome extension, use Helium10's tools, because otherwise you would never have known who really is driving the bulk of the sales and winning over and over again.
So let us see. Here's another one. Hey, this is very similar to my product. They're selling about 7,000 units a month. I definitely want to know. I definitely want to study their keyword research. So now that's the second competitor. And I'm just going to keep going down the list. There we got a third one. This guy is selling.
Would you remove that first one that you put there that was kind of like further down the page as your baseline one that you used to figure out the X-ray,
No,
the
I mean,
station list?
I picked that because I knew looking at that sales that it was not going to be one of my top competitors. I only want to do the top competitors. So I just looked for one that was very poor selling just so I can have a baseline, something to compare
Mm,
against since I don't have my
gotcha.
own product. So you don't want to pick one of the top ones as your baseline, never, because then you're excluding that from the analysis that we're about to do.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
This one, oh, I like their picture here. They're selling 2,000 units. Definitely want to see what they're doing. Let's copy that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe we can go 5. And here's another one. Looks like everybody's selling the same thing. So probably I would never want to sell this product.
The pinwheel watermelon slicer.
Yep. So I got 5 here. So now I'm going to hit get keywords. Now what this is going to do is it's going to get potentially thousands of keywords that any one of these products is organically ranking for in the top 300 positions. It's going to show any of these products that we have detected or any of the keywords that we have detected these products in sponsored ads. It's going to show me the keywords that Amazon is recommending for these, etc. Now, I was about to double click on my other computer. I have this like cool thing where I can draw on the screen and all that stuff. I can't do it. That's all right. You guys will have to visualize my double clicks right now. Okay. So now it came up with 2,000 keywords. That's a lot of information to have to go through, but this is going to be such a simple process for me to narrow it down to like my top 10 to 15. Then we're going to narrow it down to our top 5 that we would want to
And
do.
you can also obviously sort this by, .com, .co, .uk, like any kind of country that you're selling in.
Yes,
Obviously, you
the
want to
ones that we have
run.
available: Canada, Germany, Spain, Italy, France, UK, and India for
Oh,
this.
nice.
Excellent point. All right, so the very first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to say minimum ranking competitors for. What does that mean? For example, there could be one of these products that they hired an influencer. Like, do you have any influencers you follow? Rachel Ray or anything like that?
Sure, sure.
So let's say,
Pioneer woman from, Oklahoma.
yeah, let's say they got Rachel Ray to highlight on her show, if she has a show still, this watermelon slicer. And there was a special hashtag that went out on that show when they talked about this, such as, I don't know, slicer, the slicer for the dicer, whatever, some catchphrase, right? And that was what Rachel Ray was calling it throughout the show. And so what happened was after the show, everybody is searching on Amazon for that catchphrase, and then they found that product that they were highlighting. So if a lot of people are searching for a keyword, Amazon picks up on that, and guess what? Helium10 picks up on that as well. So we would show that, hey, here's this keyword, slicer for dicer, that has 7,000 monthly searches estimated, and you see that this one product that really looks like yours is ranked like page 1, position 1. So you're like, whoa, this obviously is a super important keyword because my competitor who looks exactly like me is getting tons of sales from it. Otherwise, they wouldn't be page 1, position 1. I'm going to put like, $200 in a giveaway using ManyChat in order to increase my ranking for this, right? And so you do that, and then you get to page 1, position 2. And you've been there for a couple days, 0 sales. And you're like, what's going on? Why did I get no sales? I'm page 1, position 2. And the reason is that keyword is only relevant to one product, because the only reason why it's even a keyword is because it became just like some catchphrase from a show.
Right.
Now, you didn't know that, or I didn't know that. I don't watch freaking Rachel Ray show, so I wouldn't have seen that episode. I don't know about that. So now I'm out $200 if I'm fortunate, or $1,000 most likely, spending money on a keyword that was only relevant to one product. So when I put this here, ranking competitors minimum for, what I'm saying is, Helium10, don't show me the keywords that only one guy is ranking for. Don't show me the ones that only 2 of them. Show me the ones that at least 4, this was my baseline product, remember? Show me one that at least 4 out of these 5 are all ranking in the top 300 for. So that kind of helps eliminate the possibility of getting one of those random keywords and you waste your money on it because it's only relevant to one. If 5 of the top 6 guys who are selling thousands of units a month, they're all ranking for it, okay, yeah, it's probably not one of those flukes. So that's the first thing that I'm going to do, and watch what it narrows it down to. So it went from 2,000 keywords, and let's see what it goes down to. 156. So
Wow.
obviously I have narrowed this down, extremely. But here's the other thing. All right. Let me show you a keyword right here. Perfect. We might see this kitchen gadgets. This definitely is a kitchen gadget, right? I mean,
Yeah.
a watermelon slicer is a kitchen gadget. And I look at the estimated search volume, 34,000. Whoa, that is tons of search volume. This is a great keyword. It looks relevant. It's searched for 34,000 times. But let's look at the competitor rank average. What does this mean? This means that if we're going to take the complete rank out of all of them, in other words, where they show up organically for this, the average rank is position 200. Okay. So I saw one guy is maybe position 6. So maybe he's getting some sales from this keyword. But if everybody else is like the 200th organic position, what page is that? That's like, if there's like what, 40 or 50 a page, what are we talking? What's your computer like mine say?
Yeah, that's going to be pages like what, like 10?
Yeah.
You know?
You're talking about depending on how many
They're
is on
never going to find it.
page
Completely
6 to 15,
irrelevant.
possibly page 20 even, are they getting sales from this keyword?
That one guy
No.
is, and that's why it showed up on
Yeah,
this
one
list.
guy might be. One guy, because he's on number 6. But
Right.
these other guys who are on 200, 250, 300, I would probably say no, because nobody is finding their product on page 7 or 8. I mean, it's like
Right.
1.1% of the population has the patience to go past page 3. It's something like that, So
And it
what I'm
goes back
going to do,
to what I said earlier about solution selling, like somebody you want to rank for keywords where you're solving a pain point and not just like appealing to somebody who instead of walking the they're essentially like when you go to Bed Bath and Beyond because you have nothing better to do, and now you can't even do that because they're closing their stores. But you're just walking. Somebody who's searching kitchen gadgets is essentially like browsing the aisles. They're not searching for, they don't have that pain-based search where they're like, I'm sticky, I'm tired of the mess of slicing watermelons, and I really want to solve the solution. So completely irrelevant to that search-based
exactly.
scenario.
So we just determined that, hey, since most of those people are ranking way low, that is obviously not what's driving their sales. Remember, these are guys that were selling anywhere from 2,000 to 9,000 units per month. And so like, I'm really interested in what keywords are driving those sales. Because again, the whole reason why I picked a baseline product or these products is because it looks exactly like my product. All right. In other words, my customer avatar is their customer avatar who's already bought from them. So if those customers bought from them, that means if I was on the first page of some of those keywords, I would have had an equal chance to get the sale, possibly. All right. So now that we determined that page 7 is not bringing themselves, I'm going to say, hey, show me the ones where they're pretty much all on page 1, from 1 to 30. All right. Let's see what this narrows it down to. Now it went from 150 to 43. So now here is another thing, though. Okay, here's another thing. All right, take a look at this. Fun watermelon slicer. All right, that seems super, super relevant. Absolutely, absolutely relevant. And look at the competitor rank average is 5. Why? Look at that. One is ranked 1, 2, 5, 6, and 14. Like they are all not only on page 1, they are at the top of page 1. But look at this estimated search volume.
Right, yeah.
199 a month, meaning that 5, 6, 7, 8 times a day, maybe it's searched. So here's my other question, Michelle. This is a very relevant keyword. Everybody's ranking high. But is this a keyword that's taking up a big chunk of those thousands of units of sales that we saw?
No, obviously not.
Obviously not. A keyword that's searched 7 times a day is not bringing in thousands of sales, all right? Because remember, even if it's searched X times a day, 7, 100, not every one of those searches results in a sale. I mean, how many times do we search for something on Amazon and we don't see what we like, we go to a different search, or we just don't buy anything? I mean, so just because it's searched for 200 times a month does not mean that there's 200 sales. I would estimate maybe 50 or 100. I mean, who knows, all right?
Yeah.
But by any means, it is not a keyword that is bringing a lot of sales. All right. So
Especially for your price point,
very
like
true.
a less than $10 price point, like you don't want to invest in that keyword.
Yep. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, let's just go 600. So 600 is just an even number. You can go 2,000, you can go 1,000, you can go whatever you want depending on the niche. You might have to go lower in some like really niche down things. But 600, at least this tells me that, hey, 20 people a day at least are searching for it. It's not going to give me, it's not going to narrow it down to like 3 or 4, but it should take it down to at least half. Yeah, there we go. 11 keywords. All right. So now let's take a look at some of these keywords. Watermelon slicer, which is what we saw. 17,000 is searched for. And the competitor rank average, 6.8, because it's one is rank 1, 5, 6, 8, and 14. The one that's bold at the bottom, that was that baseline product that I had picked. So now this keyword, do you think this keyword is driving a good chunk of those thousands of sales?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. What about watermelon cutter? 11, 12,000 searches, and they're all ranking high. All right, absolutely. What about watermelon windmill cutter? All right, even more. Now the competitor rank average is a little bit lower, but still they're kind of all on page 1 except for one guy. One guy might not have a great, might not be optimized for that word. But look at that. So right here, from here, this is basically the keywords that probably I would want to put in phrase form in my listing. Because remember, I talked about buyer relevancy, but I don't want to discount relevancy to Amazon. If you're not relevant to Amazon, they're not going to give you much love in ranking. And worst case scenario, they might not even index you.
Mm.
So what are some things that you could do to help relevancy is like having phrases in there with context, but having things in phrase form really tells Amazon that, hey, this is, like for example, this keyword I have, let's look at the longest tail keyword right here. Windmill watermelon slicer cutter. I can have windmill in the title, watermelon in the bullet points, slicer in the description, cutter in the back end of my listing. I would be technically, potentially indexed for windmill watermelon slicer cutter. However, in Amazon's mind, it's like, hey, we had to piece together this phrase from all over the place. If this was really important, we shouldn't have had to do that. So if you had windmill watermelon slicer cutter somewhere in your listing in phrase form, it kind of tells Amazon, hey, this really is relevant to my product. This is a phrase that is important. All right. So you can't do that for the entire keyword research. A lot of times when you're doing keyword research, you might end up with like 500 or 600 words or phrases you want to get in your listing or be indexed for. And that's great. You should. I mean, 1,000 at least, right? You can't put every single one of those thousands in phrase form. You've got to cut them up and use the individual words. But for your most important 10 to 20 words, my suggestion is have it in phrase form in your listing and then duplicate it. Duplicate it in the back end, especially the ones that you are about to launch a ManyChat campaign on, or a Facebook ad or a giveaway, or going to focus heavily on PPC. If melon cutter or watermelon slicer, watermelon cutter, that was the key, one of the key ones we saw. If that's what I'm trying to pay for, I'm going to put watermelon cutter in my title. I'm also going to duplicate that in the search terms in the back end because that sends those relevancy signals. So right here, right off the bat, I would know about watermelon slicer. If my budget was big enough, this is the one that I would want to focus on first in a campaign to try and get onto page 1. If I can't afford the amount of units I would need to give away or sell from a search from this at the beginning, hey, what would I do? I would take maybe this one. All right. Watermelon slicer is my goal. But if I target windmill watermelon slicer cutter, I would have to give away like maybe 1/5 or 1/10 number of units. And I would get a slight bump on this. All right. So I would probably do this keyword. If I can't afford this one yet, I would do windmill watermelon slicer cutter. I would follow that up with watermelon slicer cutter and try and get on page 1 for these 2 keywords. And then by doing that, this is not going to get me to page 1 on watermelon slicer, but maybe I was on page 7. It might bump me up to page 6 or page 5. It's helping me. And basically keep ramping up my sales with these smaller keywords until I can afford the bigger ones. But if you've got the budget for it, then go for the home run right off the bat. Go for your number 1 keyword right here. if it is
Can
relevant.
you sort? You can sort by the search volume
You
column,
can
right?
sort by the search volume. Right now, it's sorted by the competitor rank average, which is kind of like my way of knowing how relevant to a buyer those keywords could be.
Yeah,
But
gotcha.
you could sort it by any one of these columns right here.
So typically what I would do at this point, guys, is I would, once you have it narrowed down to this top 11, is then I would sort by the search volume column and then look at the CPR 8-day giveaways. So why don't we do that, Bradley, and just kind of like take that
Yeah.
uh, primarily because if you're just getting started with like a ranking campaign and you're wanting to go after, maybe you only have 400 units, like going after that the mother keyword, the ultimate keyword is not going to work, but I see some gems in there of things that you can do, like what Bradley was saying, line 1, line 4, line 6, 7, 8, because those smaller keywords you can put that into like a URL rotator keyword campaign and run it for the same length of time that you would have to do. I wouldn't necessarily do all of those keywords at once, maybe like pick 2 or 3, but like drive your Facebook ad through ManyChat to deliver, have that traffic to both of those keywords, and splitting your traffic and being able to rank for those keywords pretty much at the same time, with like we were saying, with just a fraction of the number of giveaways that you would have to do compared to that, that top keyword.
Yeah. So here's a good point. Like let's say let's go through the process. Let's say that product was my product. All right. So let's say that one that we picked as the baseline. Let me see if I can find that again. Actually, it's right here in Cerebro. Was it this one? I think
It
it
was
might
the
have been this one. Let
first
me see.
one, whichever.
Yeah, that was that one. Okay. So let's say this was my product. And as you can see right here, it says NR. That means I'm not even ranked for it. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly use another tool from Helium10 called Index Checker. I'm going to paste that ASIN. All right. This is going to check, am I searchable? Am I indexed for this keyword? Because this is something that should be your first step before you ever start to do something with Michelle or anybody else for ranking. You've got to make sure that you're searchable. Otherwise, your campaign is pointless. All right. So,
How long, let me ask that question. From the time somebody has a new product that they put up, a new listing, how long does it take Amazon to index a listing?
usually takes like an hour. Yeah, usually takes like an hour. So basically, if you get a listing up and and you if you get a listing up, you want to check the indexing maybe like an hour later. Yeah, and then everything should
Okay.
be indexed. Now, it doesn't guarantee that it's going to be indexed, and some because again, talking about if Amazon doesn't think you're relevant, you're not going to be indexed. So let me show you how we can check that right here. What was that keyword I wanted to check? The windmill watermelon
Right.
slicer cutter. Okay. So I'm going to check, are they indexed? Aha. Well, that explains why they're not ranking for it, right? They don't even, one of these words, I don't know which one here. Actually, let's check. Let me see.
Just go to their listing.
Let's go here. Let's go here. Let's go here.
Oh, there you
Let me
go.
check on the individual level what's going on. Aha. Okay, so this is a really stupid seller. This is obvious why they're only selling like 1 unit a day and these other guys are selling 1,000 units a day. He doesn't even have the word windmill in his listing, right there. Not index, not index, all right? Watermelon is index, slicer is index, cutter is index. So that would not be a good example to use because we could not, there's nothing in ManyChat or nothing in Facebook or nothing in anything that is going to allow him to index for that keyword if he doesn't have it in his listing.
And
So
this is really important, guys, because ranking is like I have little kids, so and they're in the mode right now of learning to ride bikes without training wheels on. And as a parent, what am I trying to do? I'm trying to teach them how to balance and get momentum. And so I might like run beside my daughter while she's, you know, pedaling her bike, but if she can't maintain that same momentum after I let her go, what's going to happen? She's going to fall over. And this is really important to understand as part of your ranking campaigns in making sure, yeah, you could try to rank for windmill, watermelon, slicer, but after that ranking campaign is over, your listing is going to fall off and drop off of that keyword, because you don't have your listing optimized for those keywords to continue that momentum.
Exactly. Exactly. It doesn't matter how you get to page one. If you don't start converting when you get there, you're going to fall right off, because again, Amazon only gets paid if somebody buys their product. So if you're not performing well for them for that keyword, they're going to put somebody there on page one who is.
Yep.
So here's a good example. Watermelon slicer cutter.
And notice here that it's also misspelled. So, like,
yeah. You might not have known that. You might not have known people are searching watermelon slicer cutter. All right.
Don't underestimate somebody's inability to to spell correctly.
Exactly. So let's say that baseline product actually is your product. All right. And you see that, hey, without even doing anything, you got like on page 2 or 3, you're position 71. Now, everybody else is kind of position 8, they're all towards the top. So you're like, man, my competitors might be getting sales for this keyword. How do I get sales for this keyword? Well, I want to get to the top of page 1. So what will you do? So the first thing, if this was 71, you might be able to set up some ManyChat flow that would be able to explain how to search organically for it. Hey, type in watermelon slicer cutter, and you're probably going to have to go to page 2 or page 3, but look for the product that looks like this. Is the cool thing about ManyChat is you can add some explanations and some pictures and stuff, and look for page 2 or 3 and maybe click on it and buy it. All right, and then I'll refund your money or whatever the case is. But let's just say you weren't in the top 306, because if you're not in the top 306, you like for example, right here, watermelon slicer. Let me see. You see, it only goes up to page 7, which is like 300 listings, but there's 881. All right, there's 881, meaning that 500 of them you would not be able to find it from this search on Amazon. So let's just assume for a second that watermelon slicer cutter, this guy wasn't number 71, or your listing wasn't 71. You're like 733, all right? You couldn't send them in ManyChat or anything else to say, hey, search for this, find it and buy it, because they won't be able to find it. So that means you're going to have to, at least the beginning, if you're not going to utilize PPC, you're going to have to make what's called a 2-step URL. All right. And then that's what you put into the ManyChat. And then Helium10 can help you with that. A lot of people don't even realize that this is completely free for all of you guys who are not Helium10 members. You absolutely have 100% access to this. Helium10.com/gems. All right. You go to this page and let's just say, let's do a couple of these. 2-step via brand. All right. And I always say try different ones, because not all of them, because of has nothing to do with Helium10. These are Amazon links. They don't always work for every single product in the same exact way. So where was that one product that we saw? 75,000. There it is right there. Okay, so I'm going to go here. And let's say this is my product. My brand is Goo Kit. All right, so I'm going to put Goo Kit right here. Let's copy this. Oh, come on. My computer does not want to copy. There you go. Copy that. Let's put that here. What's the keywords that I want to rank for? Watermelon slicer cutter. Let's go right here. Okay. All right. And for now, I'm not going to put the ASIN. Let me just see what happens. All right. So now here is my 2-step URL that I would copy and paste into my ManyChat campaign. But I always want to test it first, both on mobile and on desktop. So let's just see what happens when I would send somebody to this. Boom. There it is. All right. So watermelon slicer cutter, there's my product. So as you can see, it looks like they're searching for watermelon slicer cutter. Now it's very easy. They just go right here. They click it in 2 steps. That's why it's called 2-step URL. And now they can buy the product. Another one, we have the 2-step via hidden keywords. So this one actually takes those keywords So let's take those keywords, put it right here. Let's put that ASIN right here. And here is a different kind of URL. Let's take a look at how this one looks. So again, searching for watermelon slicer cutter. There's the result. I would click on it and buy it. It's really easy for a buyer to do that. So that is the process of how you would, first of all, identify the keywords that you think could potentially drive you the most sales. And you're not guessing. You're not guessing. This is not a guessing game. This is exact science almost, where, hey, the only way that a product is going to stay on page one, like these other guys, is if they're consistently performing well for that keyword. So you don't have to guess at what keywords they're performing well for. You have this right here in Cerebro. Then you take a look at this, and then you based on the search volume, based on your budget, based on what your goals are, start picking the keywords that you want to 1 by 1 or 5 by 5, whatever, get to page 1 for, because with the logic that, hey, if I get to page 1, I'm going to have an equal chance at getting the sales of those others. Now, here's a point. If you only have 1, 2, 3, 4 reviews, and you look at one of these keywords and everybody's got 5,000 reviews, don't touch that with a 10-foot pole. Yeah, you can get to page 1, but I guarantee you will not stay there, because think about it from a buyer's viewpoint. All right. See, I had my seller's hat on. Now I have my buyer's buyer's hat on.
And that's an important hat, guys, because sometimes as sellers, we forget what it's like to be a
So
buyer, and you got to pull your head out of your cave and remember what it's like. And sometimes I have to be that voice of reason for people.
Yes,
So I'm glad you have that hat, Bradley.
So you guys think back to all of the things that you have bought on Amazon lately, and psychologically, you might not even think about it, but you are not even considering clicking on something with only 3 reviews if everybody's got thousands, because psychologically, you just think that, oh, that's not a proven product. It might suck. These ones have thousands of reviews, so if it was bad, it would have been kicked off of Amazon long ago. All these things you don't consciously think about, but it's subconscious, and you're probably not going to click. And guess what? If nobody clicks on your listing once you get to page 1, nobody buys it, you're going to fall right off. So that's another factor to keep in mind. But anyways, this is the process. Now, there's a next step that's important. Once you start your listing, and you're starting whatever campaign that you're going to do, you obviously want to know how you're performing. Okay, so you would enter it right here into Keyword Tracker. And at the beginning, it's probably going to look something like this. What does this mean? Over 306. That means all of these keywords, this guy here, Uraru Socks, all of his main keywords that he was looking for, or most of them, he's not even ranking for. And this is, guess what? That's how your listing might look when you first start, because Amazon has no reason to put you on page 1 for something. So then you're like, hey, I'm going to go ahead and do a big campaign on white ankle socks men's, or in this other one, watermelon windmill cutter, or whatever. Basically, this is going to show you how you are performing. All right. Let me just show you how it looks without any other competitors. All right. So that's our product. All right. Let's say this is our watermelon. Let's pretend this is our watermelon cutter. And I'm going to go back actually 90 days. I actually did a test on this. I did a test on this. And so let me show you the results of that test. All right, so here, at this time, when this listing first started, he was ranking, like, look at this, 200, 225, 189. Now, the reason why there's so many dots on here is because with Keyword Tracker, if you turn on this little rocket ship here on the left, that's called Boost. It's not only going to check once a day, it's going to check every single hour of the day. 24 times a day, it's going out and checking your ranking. So you can have an almost real-time representation of where you're ranking. So right around here, I did one of the, I forgot what I did. This is a case study I did. I might have done a 2-step URL. I might have done a giveaway. I don't think I did ManyChat because I'm not good at ManyChat, but I did something here, right? And look what happened. I found out after the first phase, I was like, whoa, all right, I got up to position 70. So I went from page 8 to page 2, all right? But still, I wasn't satisfied. So I backed that up. And right around here in the beginning of June, I was like, I need to follow it up with another campaign. So I spent some more money on that keyword, and I pushed it to the page 1. You can see that it was peaking around 13 or 15. But what happened? Well, this listing kind of sucks. Again, not my product, just a friend's product. Wasn't very appealing and wasn't getting many clicks there on page one. And as you can see, what's happened since then, it's been slowly dying a slow death here off of page one, went to page two. Looks like it's on page 3, 4 now. But again, this is all important information, what you would want to know. You want to know, is the money I'm spending in Michelle's ManyChat campaign, is it working? Probably it's going to. If you did the if you did the URL correctly, it's going to work. So you're going to know when you get to page one. But then after that, what happens? All right. Do I fall off? Hey, I fell off. Maybe I'm not as relevant for this keyword as I thought. I need to, pick a different keyword, because if you get up to page one, you should be trying to get on page one of keywords that you know or that you think you're going to convert for right off the bat. So if you made a mistake, it happens. Well, you probably are not going to want to go and push that up again until you figure out why you didn't perform well. Was it because you had a low number of reviews? Is it because your star rating dipped to 4 instead of 5? And so now you got to wait till get it back up. I mean, whatever the case is, you've got to be tracking your keywords on a daily basis to know what's happening.
Can you set up like a notification to get like a report, like a weekly report or daily report?
That is by default. You get an email every day from Helium10 with the movers and shakers on your keyword tracker. Okay. We also have other alerts that you can get, such as whenever you get a review, you'll get alert, whether it's 5-star, whether it's 1-star. If somebody goes and changes your title, somebody goes and changes your image, or if Amazon changes the dimensions on your package, we're taking a screenshot. If somebody jumps on your listing, those are all happening right here in the alerts page. And in the email alerts, that's automatic, that's not even on here, is yes, your movers and shakers on the keyword tracker.
Cool. That's so powerful, guys. I mean, obviously while you're running your ranking campaign, you want to be able to see in real time how things are performing, and if something's not working, maybe you are splitting your traffic between keywords, and maybe you're not getting the traction that you're wanting on one or both of them. Then it may be a strategy that you remove one of the keywords or pause that keyword for now and focus all of that traffic and that energy on the single keyword. Or if you see that you are getting ranked for that keyword that you're wanting really fast, and then maybe supplementing and adding additional keywords to that campaign as well. So it's just, you want to be able, if you're running this, maybe it's not just for your campaign, maybe you're an Amazon consultant, or you're responsible for running Amazon inside of another business. It's really important to be able to prove, like, hey, this is how this campaign is performing. We started off on page 7 and now we're on page 1. It's make sure that you're covering your butt there. So obviously, these are just such amazing tools. I'm really really grateful that you took the time to show us, Bradley. Are there any other kind of last tidbits that you want to add or share with us as well?
What else would you like to know? I mean, this was kind of strictly so far about the kind of launch process, like when you have a new product, how to find the keywords, how to know which ones to pick for launch, how to launch them, how to track them.
I did have a question.
Sure.
So when would you use the magnet tool over Cerebro?
So magnet is something that's going to allow me to widen my search. So basically the difference between magnet and Cerebro is Cerebro, we entered in an ASIN, and I'm just looking at the keywords related to whatever ASIN that I'm picking. In magnet, you enter in a keyword, and we're going to go out there and find a wider variety of keywords, because it's going out and just widening that search. You could come up with like 10,000 keywords, and there's some things that might come up in magnet that wouldn't come up in Cerebro. Because it also has words that aren't ranking. For example, there's something that we have called Smart Complete. So like, let's say you enter what was a watermelon cutter, all right? If you're doing a broad PPC campaign, broad phrase, or broad match, all right? That means that watermelon cutters, watermelon cutter for men, best watermelon cutter for kitchen, cutter watermelon. I mean, like, it mixes and matches the words. It makes it plural, singular. It adds words to the beginning. All of those could technically come up in a broad campaign. So what Magnet does is it kind of goes out there and finds a lot of those possibilities, most of those possibilities on what keywords that would have the potential to come up in a broad campaign that are kind of like using watermelon color as a seed word. So then you're going to come up with all these crazy words that have to do with watermelon color that you didn't even know existed. And again, this would not be part of what I am choosing to launch for, because I only want to do the best of the best keywords. But when you're filling out your listing, like I said, you probably want to index for 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 keywords. So this helps you kind of fill out the rest of your listing by getting some of these other longer tail keywords that you'd want to get in your listing, and then possibly track in the future.
Got it. Got it. So just to sum up, guys, what we did was, like, let's say that you had an existing product and maybe you're going to use your ASIN in Cerebro as the baseline. And then you're going to go and grab the other ASINs of your competitors who may be performing better than you, use that X-ray tool to see who has the highest sales and looks like your products, as opposed to like that, the watermelon slicer versus like that weird chopping tool that had the onion. Nobody wants to be, and this goes back to like I'm searching for a tool that looks like what I think I'm looking for, like in a consumer mindset. They don't want to be searching for a watermelon tool and come across an onion. Ugh, like terrible, but yet they're performing well. I don't know how that's working. So you use X-ray, you find the different ASINs, at least 5 total ASINs in Cerebro. Is that what?
4 or 5. You can actually put up to 10.
Okay, cool.
Because there's people who use that for other ways, like people who use it to make their PPC campaign. So instead of just trying to find the top ones, they want to search as many as they can. So they'll throw in 10 and just kind of analyze what's going on a wider variety. If you're looking for the top keywords, 4, 5, or 6 is good enough, and then use a minimum rank competitors of at least 80% of them, like 4 out of 5, 5 out of 6, maybe 5 out of 7. Because again, if you put 7 ASINs, there's a chance that 2 of those ASINs just, even though they're selling well, they're not that smart with how to make a listing. And so you might be like, if you say, hey, show me only the ones that 7 out of 7 are all ranking on page 1 for. I mean, there could be a great selling listing that's just not optimized for one keyword. So you don't want to, that's why I don't go 100%. I'll usually go 4 out of 5, 5 out of 6, like that.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. So you did that, and then you kind of narrow it as well for search volume. There was one column that we didn't talk about, and that was, well, there were several columns, but like the Cerebro rank, and
Well, the CPR number, yeah, I forgot about that. The CPR number that will be on any magnet or any Cerebro search. Basically, that's the estimated amount from an algorithm that we created, or that Manny Coates created, that give you, if you're giving away at a discount. Nobody has a formula yet about, hey, how many full price giveaways? That's kind of a newer thing. In my personal experience, when I test it, usually about 50% still gets me to page 1 of that CPR number. But the CPR number is how many units you would have to give away using a 2-step URL at a discount on a search for that keyword to give you the best chance to get to page 1.
Right.
So that's basically what that is. And then, so if you're doing a full price giveaway, in my limited, very, very limited amount of case studies I've done, which is only like 5 or 6 case studies or mini campaigns I've done to try and test that theory, it's between like 40 and 60% of that or 40 or 60% less I can get away with doing the full price buys.
Right. And we're talking coupons versus rebates essentially there, guys.
Exactly.
And like, I have my opinions on rebate giveaways to cold traffic. Like, if you have a warm list, like people who are super responsive to you, rebate all day long. But like, if we're talking cold traffic, like, they're not going to trust rebates. They're going to feel like you're weird and scammy. So that's just a side note. But like, I think I was talking about the Cerebro score column. There's like the magnet score and the Cerebro. It's right next to the search volume score.
The very last column, that's just a score based on kind of like what we did. The ones that we had picked there almost all had like a 10 or 9 or 8. That means that, hey, a lot of these ones are ranking for it. A lot of these listings are ranking for it, and they're all kind of ranking high. So that's the competitor performance score. There's a Cerebro IQ score.
Yeah, that's
different. Cerebro IQ score, that just is taking, just so you don't have to do the math, all right? It's taking and showing you the kind of comparison between the number of competing products and the number of estimated searches. So, for example, a high IQ score would be like if there was 10,000 searches monthly for it, but only 300 people even have it in their listing. All right. A low IQ score would be there's 20,000 people who haven't been listening, or let's say, remember the watermelon cutter was like 800 people having
Mm-hmm.
their listings. So there's 800 competitors, but had a search volume of like 30 or something. So, like the ratio is way off. It does not mean, none of these things mean good or bad or indifferent. All right. So many people just are obsessed with like, hey, I need to look at a score and a high number is good and low number is bad. All it is a visual representation of the other two columns, the number of competitors and the search volume, so that you don't have to go line by line and just like kind of see, hey, which one has more competitors or which one has more search volume. You can just look at that number and kind of have an idea of which ones are
Yeah,
doing that.
a good ballpark. So you guys don't have
Yeah.
to build pivot tables and
No,
in
no, no. Yeah.
Excel.
And guys, and I'm talking about that Helium 10 or any tool. A big problem because of guru mindset or false marketing by other tool companies. Helium 10 obviously has scores, all right? But you'll never ever find us marketing any one of our scores as some kind of metric that means if something is good or bad. All scores should be, because all they are is just a comparison of different metrics so that you don't have to go and calculate it all. Like there's a success score in X-ray. It doesn't mean 5 stars means it's super successful. It just is taking into consideration certain metrics. There's other tool companies out there or other gurus who say, hey, go look at this tool company, or they even teach, go to Helium 10 and look for a cerebral IQ score of this, and that means it's good. No, we'll never say
You're
that
like,
because
please
it doesn't
don't,
mean good
please
or
don't
bad.
say those things.
Yeah, it doesn't mean good or bad, guys.
Okay, cool. Thanks for clarifying that because as I've played with the tool, I had that question as well because sometimes it felt like it was spot on, and other times it felt like what does this actually mean?
Yeah.
So I think I
And
appreciate your
if
clarification.
anybody's curious about any metric or column in Helium 10, just put your mouse over it and it'll give you an explanation of
Hmm.
it too. So I know we have tons. I mean, we have more data than any tool I've seen. So it can be a bit overwhelming at first. So two things: put your mouse over any column, and then on the top of every single tool page, there's something called Learn, a button called Learn, and it has a lot of in-depth tutorials on it.
Cool. Cool. Well, Bradley, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you, taking the time to walk us through these scenarios and how to use the various Helium 10 tools specifically for ranking or launching your products, whether you're launching a new product or re-ranking an existing product. These tools will give you the data to be able to build out your ManyChat campaign to give you the best possible results. Because like I said at the beginning, it's a garbage in, garbage out kind of scenario. If you just pick a random keyword that you think you should be ranking for, and then you only run it for a few days, like I'm sorry, you just lost a whole bunch of money.
Exactly.
So we really want to empower you to make the best decisions for your listings and your brands as possible. And tools like Helium 10 give you that data to make decisions with. So don't pull these out of the air. Don't just like ask your mom or ask a friend. Like use data to make your decisions with. And obviously tools like Helium 10 make it really easy and to be able to manipulate that data and get find those diamond keywords that maybe if you can't rank for, you don't have the inventory tolerance to rank for those major keywords, to pick other ones that you can rank for. So thanks again, Bradley, and I'm going to have some links below where you guys can get the GEMS tool, where you can get the Chrome extension, and where you can get started with Helium 10. I think you guys have like is it free for 30 days, or for, like have different like starter packages for
Yes,
people to be
yes,
able to
yeah.
try
We
out.
got, we got. There's, I'm sure. Hopefully, you have a coupon for like 50% off your first month. You can get 10% off life. We have a lot of different options for you guys.
Cool. Awesome. Awesome. And I'll post those below so you guys can get started with those. Okay. Thanks again, Bradley. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. We'll see you later.